President Trump's top general contradicting his boss, General Joseph Dunford, today, warning that ISIS is a, quote, global challenge. This comes days after President Trump said, quote, ISIS is now giving up. They're raising up their hands. Well, Arwa Damon went to speak to ISIS fighters, and she's out front tonight.
ISIS's survival is not tied to the fate of its crumbling caliphate. It planned for this day. ISIS did calculate that one day they will be finished, the Bahraini man says, his voice calm and steady. His name is Omar. He says he was in charge of ideological training at ISIS military camps in Deir ez-Zor and Raqqa. He tells us they did not put a lot of money into the battles they fought. The weapons they used were the weapons of the enemy. The money went elsewhere, Omar says. Even during times of austerity, there was always a calculation for the future. No one knows exactly how much ISIS is worth now. In 2014, the group was thought to have a total of $1.5 to $2 billion. It was making $1 million a day from oil fields, more than enough for its regular expenses. ISIS has distributed its revenues overseas for the next phase of its war. Isam is an ISIS member from Morocco who oversaw the border crossings between Turkey and ISIS territory. He tells us that ISIS would train and dispatch members to set up companies, which then acted as facilitators, but also behaved as regular businesses. ISIS may no longer physically control swaths of Syria and Iraq, but it thrives underground. And it is widely assumed that the ISIS leadership, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and his top lieutenants, are in the border areas between Syria and Iraq, familiar territory. The first stage of the ISIS insurgency, back in 2010, was called aggressive hibernation, making money, building networks in the deserts and cities of Iraq. In many ways, ISIS is going back to that strategy, waiting for the next opportunity. It's an ideology that exploits and feeds off of deep-seated grievances, fosters a thirst for revenge. They will spring up somewhere else, Omar says, if you don't know how to fight them ideologically. ISIS plots for the long game. Its leaders are fond of saying that it's not ruling Mosul and Raqqa that counts. It's the will to fight. And ISIS will once again simply bide its time.
And Aaron, both of those men had, in fact, in the last 3 to 4 weeks, handed themselves over to the Syrian Democratic Forces, telling us that, as we already do know to a certain degree, ISIS is already taking advantage of security vacuums that exist worldwide, expanding itself even deeper into areas in North Africa, Southeast Asia, and beyond.